that some people will just go, he said what? You know, and this will come to a phrase where, you know, I know I'll get yelled at, but I don't care. I just don't. You know, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to say things to try to get a few more backers. I'm not going to say things not to ruffle feathers. You know, I'll say what I need to say, and it will always be honest, and it won't be to cause controversy. It won't be to stir up numbers for our game. It's really funny because with the free-to-play stuff, you know, guys are like, oh, he's just trying, some guys, and not all of them I know really meant it. We think I was just trying to stir up controversy. Hey, if I want to stir up controversy, I could stir up so much controversy that they'll be talking about it for years. No, the guy asked me a question, and I gave him an answer. Andrew. Andrew just came back. Why did you come back? Hey, man. Hey, look, Andrew's here.
Hey, Andrew.
I would wave, but
dinner.
Dinner was fine.
How's Sharon? All good?
Yeah, she's doing good.
Cool.
Still waiting for certain things to be signed
That's
by
why,
certain people.
That's why I was asking. No, sit down. Join. We're just chatting now.
Hey, are we live? Or are we
Yeah,
just...
we're live.
Okay.
yeah, it's basically a live chat with the chat room. Still about 350 people watching, so.
You know, and so that's something that's, you know, obviously really, really important to me, and will continue to be you know, important to me. You're welcome. As we move forward, and again, even more so when we get funded. I can't care, you know, and I shouldn't care. I should be talking about the things that we need to talk about. I should be honest with these people because they are our backers. You know, they're not somebody, and it's nice to say, oh, well, they're buying your game, and you have to be honest with them, and I think you do. But I think you need to be even more honest with people who are backing your game. And, you know, the argument of, well, is can you be more honest? And there's always, you know, yes, you can be even more honest. You can be willing not to try to cover your words in, you know, and construct your phrases in ways so you either don't offend anybody or you leave yourself wiggle room. So I'm going to continue speaking my mind, and I want my guys here, you know, also to speak their minds. Be honest about stuff. Even if it means at times that somebody is going to get a little pissy. That's fine. You know, we can live with it.
Yeah, and at the same time, how much more of a buy-in do you get from people too when they have that opportunity? Oh, well, I was just saying, how much more of a buy-in do you get from people, you know, employees of CSE too, when you give them that ability to take some ownership and go out and show what they're able to do and talk with people about it.
Well, that's one of the great, you know, reasons that Dark Age of Camelot worked. And so over the years, you know, people have sometimes either tried to take too much credit for that game or take credit away from other people. And so the thing I've said about Camelot right from the beginning is that why Mythic works so well with Dark Age was that we did have that sort of buy-in. We did have people who were, you know, absolutely allowed to go out and design things or create things without it having to flow all through me or even Matt, who was the producer. We had people. You know, there are names that I'll mention now that you've never heard of. There's Brian Axelson. Brian was, you know, one of our top programmers there. Rob was, you know, my co-founder, and he was the top gun. But Brian, who was one of our youngest guy, I forget whether he or Matt Kidder were the absolute youngest. I think Matt was younger. Brian also was a huge, huge part of the combat system. You know, not only as a programmer, but helping to design it. And so that extended to so many other people within the team. We gave them the ability to make these kind of choices and decisions. And we try to do that here as well. You know, even though this team in some ways is younger than that team, though you had Brian and Matt who were just really kids. All of the ideas, when you look at stuff that came in March on Oz, and also that are coming up with Camelot, they're not all, it's not all coming out of me, okay? And I would never, ever presume to take credit for all of it, saying, hey, every great idea is mine. No, it comes from our studio. And yes, sometimes the ideas are mine. The overall vision, yeah, okay, that's mine. But that's not the most important part. the most important part is filling in all the details, is getting all the systems right. And that's going to come not only from this team, but from our backers as well. Would you agree?
Yeah, and I would say that a lot of, I don't think we would be even doing this were it not for people like Tim and Michelle and David, who are just, they came in and they're first off, they're just avid gamers, but they're also very smart gamers, where just the conversations around the office for a year before we launched this Kickstarter was, what are you playing? Are you having fun? Why are you having fun? What is working? Why are you motivated to throw a whole bunch of, microtransactions at the cash shop of this game and not this other game? Michelle has spent hundreds of dollars in cosmetic stuff for Guild Wars 2.
Oh yeah, she's
hundreds and hundreds of dollars.
They don't dropped a bundle, remember?
Yeah.
The first week he had already dropped, big money, not as much as Michelle. But Andrew's absolutely right. I mean, and that's one of the things that energized me about doing an MMO again. Because honestly, when EA and I parted ways, I was like done with MMOs. I was like, I don't think there's any chance I'm going to do another MMO. And then things happened. And one of the things that did happen was listening to Michelle and Tim and Dave, talking about MMOs and going in and playing some of these games together, and then seeing certain things happen in the industry that I was told weren't going to happen, and gee, well, they happened. And that made me feel, again, more confident and more excited about doing MMOs. And so that's one of the reasons, as I said earlier, I will go to war with these guys. I will, try to make an awesomely great RVR game. And if I wasn't surrounded by them, there's no chance. Zero. If I didn't have Andrew, zero. I mean, truly, that I would do this game. And you've seen what he's capable of, and this is only a short period of time. And what I've said in other interviews about him that I like so much is he'll be honest with me. Andrew, what was one of the things you said when we were talking about that? What are you missing that you said? What don't you have?
Right.
A filter.
Okay.
You remember?
Yeah.
Andrew is very, very, very honest. You ask him a question, he'll give you the answer. And that, if you're making an MMO, is crucial. When you're head of programming, essentially, besides being the lead programmer, but also being the guy who is making sure everything is going to happen, if he's not being honest, you're screwed.
I lose at poker. I lose at poker a lot. Which makes it really embarrassing when I lose at poker.
And that's critical. I mean, that's critical for our success. And that's part of what makes CSE, I absolutely know, a good candidate to do this game. Because everyone is the same way. We are an honest bunch of guys and gals. And, you have to encourage that right from the beginning. And you have to reward people for being that way. And you also have to, at the same time, say, if you're not going to be honest, this isn't going to work. And, but you also have to be willing to accept mistakes. And, deal with at times Andrew's very brutal, honesty about things. And I can be the same way. And, it's one reason, I keep saying, sorry, guys. To everyone who's listening, sorry for the but that's crucial, absolutely crucial. And I'm thrilled about it. And when you look at what he's done so far, just wait. Just wait.
Yeah, I'm already moving on to the networking side. So, we're going to have that tech demo and, good things for people to actually play with.
We've had a very persistent and important repeating question from the chat room to see if we can get both of you to quack.
3, 2, 1.
There you guys go.
We'll do it for our backers. Hang on.
Big duck.
We need the big duck. I think it's in there. I think it's in the conference room.
Yeah, what's that blue pig thing behind you? That is not a duck.
Excuse me? Did you just call Bender?
Yeah. He's pretty stubby for a Bender. Did like something sit on him?
God. Oh my God!
He's charmingly plush.
Oh my God!
Don't you just cuddle angry Bender?
You so failed on that. Oh my God! Your geek test that's a pig. All right, That was a pig.
To be
pig. I said it was Bender. Anyway, 3, 2, 1, whack. There we go.
Yeah, everybody in the chat's now saying I just lost alpha access. To be fair, the pig thing I pulled straight up from the chat. I didn't even notice it till they pointed it out. So totally just shifting the blame here.
Oh man, that's fantastic.
I have a suggestion I gave to Tim about something I'd like to see, and I think he said he mentioned it to you. But in a lot of the mythology, there is replacing of limbs with silver. For instance, Lou's Silverhand in Welsh mythology, or Nuada, the king of the Tuatha De Danann, his arm got chopped off and it became silver.
It's so pretty. We should just record his voice, and anytime any of us have to say TDD, we'll just play it back.
No, my pronunciation is Shannon approved, so I'm sticking with it.
Makes sense.
Just you could just hire me to hang around the office and then just blurt it out whenever.
There you go.
Once you fund and have the money for it. No, but what do you think about such an idea, like limb replacements?
Actually, didn't Tim get back to you on that?
He said I deserved a cookie, and I told my wife and haven't gotten any yet. Actually, she sent me a Guild Wars 2 cookie through the mail, so... I just wondered if you had any further thoughts about it. Is that something you're going to try to implement, or is it just a cool idea that,
my reaction to that was to have a cookie, which means I think it's a great idea. And it's something that, honestly, I hadn't even thought about yet. So, no, I think that's something we are definitely going to talk about. I think it really fits not just, obviously, the mythos of these heroes, but also the mythos of the world.
Cool.
On the tech side, I think the character art system completely supports it. So
awesome. I get badass character images in my head right now. A question that's popped up a lot in the chat recently is talk about forums. I know you're going to create the backers forums and stuff, but when the game actually goes live and stuff, are you going to host the forums for the game, or are we going to want to rely on something else like VN again? Is that something you've discussed?
Oh, my God.
I will never rely on VN.
And no, the reason I'm saying no with such vehemence is frankly because, I've said to our backers, we are going to have our own backer forums. That, you don't want to say it goes without saying, because certainly I've had an interesting relationship with forums as well. But no, absolutely. We will have our own backer forums. We fund, and as quickly as we can after funding, we will get the forums running.
Now, about forums after the game launches, any plans on that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's all part of it. I mean, if you're going to have backer forums, post-launch for our backers, well, what are your subscribers? They're backers too, in a sense. They're helping to support the game. So, of course, we should have our own forums. I just think of it as one in there.
So we talked earlier about, or you talked earlier about giving a lot of people opportunities to speak, and you not being the only one. We would love to have some more of your team on here as they're available. I'm sure they're going to be extremely busy, but we would very much like to talk to some artists and some programmers and talk nerdy on that side of things too. If you've got people that are interested in joining us, we'd love to talk with them.
Getting some of the people to want to be in front of a camera is, sometimes difficult.
Well, this is convince them that we're not really that scary. I mean, did I grill you today, Mark? Did I ask you the really hard questions, other than bringing VN up and watching your reaction just? But
Hey, I actually, and the thing about the VN, in all truth, is that I had a very good relationship with some of the people there, both the moderators and a lot of the players. And even though they don't want to admit it, that actually worked quite well for both Camelot and Sum of War. The trouble is, there was always some who were trying to be really disruptive. And that's where I draw the line. I don't mind criticism. Lord knows I get it here too. We are an honest bunch. But what I do mind is the kind of stuff we had to put up with, or Sonya had to put up with. I don't like people being incredibly profane directed at one of our team. I don't like death threats, directed. I don't like wishes for people to be in car accidents, that sort of stuff. That, I think, is, quite frankly, uncivilized. It doesn't belong in, this kind of conversation, this kind of relationship. But the shame is that if you look at the vault, over the years that Camelot was being developed as well as being launched, and same with Warhammer when I went back there, we got some awesome feedback from people. I had a group of testers for Warhammer that I trusted, and they would give me information that I would pass on to the team. And so, even though at times, again, testy relationship and leaving happened, there was some great stuff that came out of the vault. And I, as always, am deeply appreciative of the guys, and gals who helped out. And I want that on our own forums, whether it's on the back of forums or post-launch on the game forums.
yeah, I'm digging up questions.
Are they running
curious
out of questions?
Not really.
No,
just a lot of
never.
them tend to be inane.
Yeah, well, and a lot of the questions that we've seen, we saw a lot of it tonight, and we asked a lot of questions that we already knew the answers to in an attempt to help get that information out there for people who are paying attention to it. We've said it before. I think one of the struggles for a lot of people is that there's so much information to go through that if they, it's easier to just keep asking the question than to try and dig through 50 pages of Q&A to find the answer. So,
and that's an issue. I mean, it's funny because if you look at some of the things that have been said about the Kickstarter, there's not enough information about the game. Oh my God! You look at the wiki now, thanks to the work by some wonderful backers. You look at the Chasing Mark Jacobs. You look at everything that has been the FAQ that's been put together by people.
There's a Chasing Mark Jacobs site.
Yeah,
now.
there is. I just heard it's Simply Gaming. It's awesome. These guys and gals have done an incredible job. And there's so much information out there. But you're right. Part of the problem is it's too much for some people to go through. And not in a bad way, because I want to get to the meat. I want to know why I should back this game. I want to know why I should believe in this game. And, it's tough sometimes because we have put so much information out there. If you look at where we are, if you think about it from the perspective of a normal game development cycle, which is so not what Kickstarter is, right? You're 2 years out from a game, as we are now, 2+ years. What do you really know about any game that has ever gone into production 2.5 years before it's ready?
It's not even usually announced.
Exactly. And if it is announced, it's a name. Or it's a rumor. And yet there's so much information out there, about Camelot Unchained, about our systems, about, progression, about some of the races, about the engine that Andrew is building. There is just tons of it. So, information is more an issue than, total lack thereof.
So I asked this earlier, but my headset was screwing up because it was run out of charge, so I'm not sure it came through. A lot of people were asking where to send their resumes, and with how you were talking about your team and stuff, you completely convinced me, and I would like to hire on as your dirt poor pay part-time story guy if you know, if you so choose to go the cheap option.
I want a
No.
story, but I don't want to pay for it.
Right
Can
now,
you give me an okay story?
Sorry, right now the best way is when we fund is to look at job openings, and if anything meets, catches your eye, you know how to get in touch with me. For other people, if they don't know how to get in touch with me, though I think a lot of our backers already do, just send support@citystateentertainment.com and it will get to me.
Or jobs at City
Or
State.
jobs@citystateentertainment.com.
Awesome. So everybody's still here, all 331 of you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need to call it a night though. So
Okay.
Yeah, and Mark hasn't even had his dinner yet.
That's true. He got to have dinner with his amazingly talented and beautiful girlfriend. And I've been sitting with you guys and hundreds of backers and listeners. I still think I might have gotten the best part of the deal.
Well, you have to say that because she's his girlfriend.
Hey,
No, we're not.
That's definitely outnumber her.
Yeah, by a lot. But she's tough. I don't know. I think that might be an interesting match.
Oh, she was already giving me crap at dinner because I, declared my allegiance to the Vikings and.
Oh, boy.
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
Oh, that got recorded.
Yeah.
It's on things.
Oh,
Well,
man.
it got recorded on his one earlier, so
Oh gosh.
that's okay. A lot of people like Vikings, so I'm going to be tempted to find out who the underdogs are, but it really depends on the community of the realm on where I decide to go.
Yeah, I hope we don't make the kind of mistakes that there is an underdog in terms of design. Because certainly we heard that a lot with Dark Age.
Yeah, my theory is that if everyone is bitching equally, that the game is placed against them, you've
Yes.
pitched just about perfectly.
And that's what
Yes.
I mean, it sounds awful, and I've said this before and gotten yelled at as well. But what he says is true. He's absolutely correct. We want all sides to think they're, either they're not balanced properly. Because if everyone is complaining equally, if everyone thinks that the other side is more powerful,
In general, if one side isn't bitching and the other two are, the side that's not bitching is OP.
Yeah.
totally.
So what you're saying is, if you like what you got, bitch about it.
Well, the sad part is that we did see some of that, which is unfortunate. And this is a question that a lot of our team, some of our former team leads, have either asked me directly or have posted. Is there going to be a team lead program? And part of the problem is some of our team leads were outstanding. Outstanding. Did a great job. Unfortunately, others didn't tell the truth about things. And that goes back to a question an issue we discussed earlier about backers being invested. These guys are going to be invested. I expect and know that they will be more honest as a group because they want this game to succeed, because they have not only spent their time as they're spending it now, but their money as well, because that's really important.
So I will add, Camelot was, over a decade ago. We have way better metrics now.
Oh, yeah.
Way better metrics.
Oh, yeah. Well, we didn't have it. God, when Camelot launched, our metric system was pretty much, let's look at the code and look at the logs. And that was it. It's a testament to that team, truly, that game came out as well as it and was as successful as it was. Because when you compare the totally lack of metric tools, the size of the team, all the things that we didn't have, well, in some cases were really small, like the team, for it to come out the way it did and be as successful was really a testament to the how not only how talented some of those guys were, but how hard they worked on it. We outworked everybody, and I say that with all humility. Those guys, poured everything they had into it, into making Camelot a success. They Dark Age of Camelot a success. They lived there. They were there, late nights, weekends, everything you needed to do in order to succeed. And they were, just an incredibly hard-working bunch, of boys and girls. And I've got that same, kind of group around me now. These guys do the same thing, as you can see from our Kickstarter. Because you could probably have figured out by now, we're doing some of this stuff, like the interviews, not these interviews, but the updates, excuse me, on the fly. Andrew is upgrading the engine as we, go through this Kickstarter. We wanted to do this for, potential backers. We wanted to show them what he can do, what our team can do, and not just, hey, we've got this great presentation and we've been working on it for 6 months and all that.
And I mean, we're not going to go dark when we fund, I mean, I'm definitely still going to be, hey, look at the latest build.
I'm assuming you'll get about a week of dark after you fund because of the,
You have to sleep after the Kickstarter.
All right, so there's been a lot of suggestions in the chat that Andrew try to ninja sneak off so he can go get some sleep, or that he starts spoon feeding Mark. So I think we'll probably wrap it up here, and unless you guys get going, thank you very much, both of you, Mark specifically because you were here longer, for talking with us and hanging out. It was a good time, and really appreciate, as a very excited person for Camelot Unchained, I very much appreciate the engagement you have in the community. So thank you very much.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've got to.
All our backers, who are listening, as always, thank you so much for being the amazing, absolutely amazing backers you've been. I mean, it sounds very cliche to say something like that, but just go to our comment section. What are we up to? As of now, for a game that's been in Kickstarter for 16 days, we have 31,244 comments. And they're not flames. They're not, PvP forum stuff. What they are an amazing group of people who are talking about the game. They're excited about the game. And I am, again, as I've said and I'll keep saying, really grateful for that. Because they've made this Kickstarter so much fun. Yeah, it's tiring, but it's fun because I can go into the comment section and it feels like I'm talking to my friends and not just my backers and not just, random strangers. I mean, the ducks that they've sent us, the things that they've done for us, it's wonderful. Yeah. I am so grateful.
When we fund, I will finally reveal the story behind the ducks and how they came to be.
It's a good story.
All right.
It's a total programmer startup, and it's brilliant. But
I think you just motivated people to double down on their donation.
But that'll be one of the reveals. And in terms of taking time off, absolutely. This team's earned it. They really they deserve a little bit of time off, and they'll get it.
Well, thank you very much, and we'll kill the stream here. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.